Yay! Hi everybody, this is Trina with So You Want to Dance Live on City to City Radio, and I am here with somebody I'm so excited to be with today, with not only the gorgeous wife, mother, grandmother, the owner of, the CEO of the International, let me make sure I have it right, Swing Dance Championships, the owner of the International Lindy Hop Championships, the event director of Lindy Fest, am I right? Mm-hmm. And a member of the Traveling Dancing QTs, right?
Yes, my
so
sister.
there's your sisters,
Yeah.
and a boss female that I totally admire, Mrs. Tena Armstrong Morales. Am I right? Morales Armstrong. Yes, I got it right. And I've been making sure I had that right all this time. Today I messed up, but okay. I'm here in her beautiful home in Louisiana, Sugarland.
It's a little south.
Way south. And then I've been told to use Waze. And so Waze, my daughter had to make me think about it. Well, it took me a long way because it's trying to get me out of traffic, I guess. But when I go back, so I come to Sugars all the time. And I usually just take that way, that 16 is by Galleria. I take that way to come here.
Okay.
This took me close to the Red Rooster. It just took me a whole, took me a Fannin.
Fannin?
Yes, we went up a Fannin. We were, okay, so that's the travel.
Okay.
That's why I had to breathe when I got in. So anyway, guys, we're so excited to have Tina to talk about some things that we're going to talk about ISDC mainly. But first, we all seen Tina out and smiling, but she's always kind of in the background. So today I'll get to ask her some of my questions, but we're definitely going to focus on ISDC 2020. It'll be ISDC 2019 questions, but we're going to be talking for the future. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get started. Who is Tina? Where are you from? What school? Because I know you were from Houston. Are you from Houston?
No.
Okay, so where are you from?
Well, that's kind of hard to say. I was born a military brat. So I was actually born in Alaska. Probably the only black person you know.
In Alaska?
I was born in Alaska. My dad was in the military. So kind of all over.
What branch?
Army.
Army, okay.
I moved to Houston in '98. So I've been here a good amount of
Long
time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's no need in me asking you what schools because we probably
No,
don't know.
I don't even know. I don't know the schools, and when people mention them, especially in the community, they'll say, "Oh, I went," and I'm like, I have no idea what that is or where it is.
Right. So you can't.
No.
So you won't be saying I went to Wheatley or anything like
No,
that. So yeah.
no,
Okay.
no.
Well, we'll let her miss that one. We won't bother with that. So when were you introduced to dance for the first time? Any kind of dance?
Oh, I've been dancing out the womb. So I started dancing when I was like 2 or 3 years old and dancing around the house. And then my dad, we would always on the bases we would go to these parks, and my dad would send me out there and say, "Go dance." Or my
was he a dancer? Did he dance? Or?
Both my parents danced, and they partner danced. You know, and back then they called it fast dancing. But he would put me. They'd have parties, and he'd go and pick me up out of my bed at night, and he'd bring me in and dance.
Somebody company, yeah.
So that, and then I was a cheerleader in high school and choreographed routines and dance routines, and then after that my sister owned an aerobic studio. And I used to do hip hop classes there, so that's how I kind of got into more of the professional type stuff.
You said something that made me think about it. Hip hop dance. Did you ever teach a class of your own? Okay, so you did that. That wasn't the question. I'm just gonna come back to me.
No.
Okay. We see that you guys have questions, and we're gonna come back later, and we're gonna answer those questions in a little bit. I see my mother. Hi, Mama. So, tell me briefly about your history with competitions and/or championships.
Well, I started more as a competitor on the Lindy Hop side.
Okay.
And started competing, won some things, then moved into judging. Actually, the late Jack Carey and the legend Sylvia Sykes actually got me into judging, and they were more on the West Coast side and Lindy Hop side. Jack Carey actually invented the term Jack and Jill, and so I learned a lot from them on how to judge. And
that's good to know. That's really good to know for our questions that will be coming up.
And so I started judging a lot of Lindy Hop competitions. Judged at the U.S. Open out in California, and was a head judge for a while, years ago. And so that moved into starting, and then I also started organizing weekends and things like that, and then moved into organizing competitions.
Okay, so do you enjoy that? I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
have to
Yeah,
to
it's
continue
fun.
to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and that's the kind of
must.
stress that you enjoy. You know, that's that fun
It's a
stress.
lot of stress,
Yeah.
but it's yeah.
At the end of the day, I always think about that. Even when you give an event, at the end, it's like,
Yeah.
that's what we did. Yeah. So, I'm trying to make sure I don't have anything else before we get into ISDC.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's think. You went to school, you're military. So you said your mom and dad partner dance, but just fun stuff,
Yeah.
with fun stuff. Did you ever Lindy Hop? Tell me what Lindy Hop is.
So Lindy Hop is the sort of, you can say it's the granddaddy of all the swing dances.
Okay.
So everything originated from Lindy Hop.
Lindy Hop.
And Lindy Hop it originated in the 20s in Harlem. And with
Oh, so
our
like
people.
the
Yeah, that thing.
oh, like
Yes.
swing fast, almost the
Yes.
holding your hands up.
To jazz music.
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Swing dance music, swing music. yes.
Okay, and I'm just gonna ask this: hand dance.
Hand
What
dance.
is hand dance?
Hand dance is also a derivative of Lindy Hop.
Okay.
So everything. So Lindy Hop
So
is
let's
the
start-
grandfather,
and it- okay.
and then everything branches from there, including West
Interesting.
Coast swing and hand dance,
Okay,
Chicago stepping. Everything originates from Lindy Hop.
that's really interesting. Okay, you have to do a book since you're retired. You have to do a book. You really-
I don't have
think
time.
about that.
I really have time.
Yeah,
to
think
do
about
what I
that.
do.
Do a book. I think that's. I'm a history buff too, and so I
Me
like
too.
that.
Me
like
too.
to find
Me
out
too.
where things come from,
Yeah.
which is another reason I like doing this too, because like unsung, all that. I like listening because I be wanting to know like
Yeah.
why did this happen? Where's your brain at? Okay, so let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the International Swing Dance Competitions, which is better known as ISDC.
Sure.
How did the vision come about? Which we've already known.
Well, Well, that's kind of a long story. It actually started with, I was approached by two couples from Dallas,
Okay.
along with Diana Howard,
Okay.
who came in and they wanted to create. Diana, I had known Diana before, and she knew that I do Lindy Hop competitions. She knows the type of work I have done,
Okay.
like in that community. So she said that there's two couples from Dallas, and they want to have a competition.
Okay.
So they came over to my house, and I brought everything up on the screens, and I said, "This is what you're gonna do. You need to do this, 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 and this, and this." And they kind of sat there with headlights in their eyes,
Like, oh my
and
God.
they're like, "I didn't know that wasn't that much
Yes.
involved." And and I told them, I'd help them along the way, but I didn't, at the time I
Right.
was pretty busy, but. They went away, and then they came back and they said, "We don't think we could do this without you." And so they hired me as a consultant for that event.
Okay.
And so I kind of ran everything for them. I didn't own anything and everything. So this was the big competition in Dallas,
Yes.
where everybody went to. I think the event itself turned out relatively good from the
Spectator side?
attendees,
Okay.
attendee side. From my side,
Yes.
not so well.
Okay.
And they actually didn't have the money in the bank. Now,
Okay, I remember that competition.
Yes.
I don't know why I thought it was here in Houston, so it happened in Dallas.
Yes,
Okay.
and of course, I
Yes.
had no access. I didn't have any idea what kind of money they had. They
Okay,
guaranteed me that.
good.
No, I
Okay,
had no access to anything.
Okay.
And
that's
then I didn't know until the weekend of the event that he didn't have the money,
Oh,
that they
no.
didn't
Okay.
have any money. So yeah.
Good to know on one side, but
So what happened with that?
Yes, okay.
So
good.
after that event was over, I was contacted by a lot of people. Actually, Iris being one of them, and Jay and a couple other people saying that they love the event. They really want to do something.
Okay.
Because they said our community doesn't have this, and done on like a professional level. And so they begged me, and Diana begged me, and they're like, okay, so, and plus I kind of wanted to clear my name as well.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Because people were thinking that I had something to do with that. I have a check I can show you for $5,000 that bounced along with everybody else's
Oh my
check.
gosh, that's so funny. And it's good that you're bringing it up because I had forgotten about it, but it helps me to know that, and everybody else knows. She has her check bounced from yours. Okay. So.
And I actually made sure that everybody else got paid before I got paid too, because for me that was an integrity thing.
Definitely.
But yes, my check bounced along with everyone else's. But people associated me with that,
Definitely.
like in the community, because they didn't know me, they didn't know the type of work or
Right.
what I've done before. So it was half that and half to clear my name. So.
Yes, I definitely. When you first said that, I thought to
Yeah.
myself, that's
Yeah.
probably how that.
And I had already had international Lindy Hop championships, and so I said, well, we'll just call it International Swing Dance Championships.
Okay. So that makes sense. So, God, that was a long story.
I know, that's a long story, but
Good long story. That's good to
that's how I
know.
came
Okay, so it's been in existence since
This
When was that
iteration, 2014.
2014.
I think it was 2013, the one in Dallas.
Well, I must say I've
failed
never
event.
heard anything but good things about it.
Good.
They're doing it here in Houston,
Good.
and I have not attended. What I have attended was the meet and greet this year, and I was telling you earlier that it was really nice. It was very refreshing. I'd seen people I hadn't seen in a long time, and I was like, okay, so maybe this is a baby step if I come to the meet and greet. So now I need to get to the next part. So why did you guys decide on Memorial Day weekend?
Well, I wanted it to be on a holiday weekend.
Okay.
Just because then people have that day off, and so that we can extend it and have enough days to do everything, because it takes a lot of time to be able to fit all the categories in.
Right,
And
right.
It's not something you can do in a night event or one night event.
Definitely. Okay. So now it's time to address some inquiries.
Uh-oh.
This is fun.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna ask, my daughter Kayla is helping us today with being the videographer. Thank you, Kayla. Can you peek and see if there's any questions? There's no questions, okay, just people picking in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type in and we'll come at the end and try to answer those. If not, we're gonna address them in writing on, I'll do another video and I'll come back and answer those questions, and I'll get the answers from Tena. So we'll figure that out. Let's just see how much time we have.
Okay.
So ISDC committee, how is that committee chosen?
When you say the committee, you mean the organizers? Or so the organizers are myself, Karen Gooden.
Yes, Karen.
And so there's 3 partners, and now we've Damon Carter from North Carolina.
Damon Carter. I don't know how. It's me, Carter. Oh, that's the name. It's okay. Well, remember, last night I was at the concert doing a video. It's like, I'm here at People Bryson's concert, and is somebody else here with him? I just don't know who it is right now.
I'm like, why am I blinking?
No. So, what about the committee? Okay, so that's the team basically, or the owners per se. The committee. So the question is, you have a committee of people who help you make, come up with, I don't know. They're asking how to be on the committee. Do you approach
the committee.
like your committee?
No, there's no committee.
There's not. Okay, well,
so
there we go. Let's get
we're
straight.
the owners of
Okay.
the event.
Okay.
And so we decide on instructors. We
Okay.
decide on judges.
Okay.
We decide on how the event runs,
Okay.
staffing, and all that.
Maybe they're thinking about staff.
Okay.
So so there's a meeting that you guys have, and I guess that's like a staff meeting, preparing for the event, like when you guys meet up and.
Well, so there's a couple of things that happen. So, in the beginning, we sort of. Are you talking about like hiring up instructors? How people are picked, or?
Yeah, so if someone wants to work with you on this committee, not be an owner, but they want to work. I
they
guess on
usually-
staff. Maybe that's
well,
what I should say.
I can give you an example of somebody who wanted to be a judge, and so I was contacted by them, and they said, I'd like to be a judge. I kind of looked at sort of like what their qualifications are, and actually, I'm sure he won't mind. So one of them was Travis Gidry.
Okay, yes, okay.
Okay, so Travis has been a competitor before, So what we normally do is we let somebody be a mock judge first.
Okay. Oh.
So he sat in for a year,
Okay.
and his scores did not count.
Okay.
He
Okay.
judged the competitions, and then after the competitions, we review those, look at that, and see, how he did, and then from there he became a judge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a really good explanation for that. Okay, so that's gonna lead into another question. So how are judges chosen? So, and this is, I told you earlier that I'm honest about me.
Okay.
So most people know that I wanted to be in a competition before I was 50. Didn't happen. I'm 51. It was like 51 or 52 when I did my competition. But so that was one of the things I always was scared of. Like, because
But why?
not that there's no one that likes me. Everybody likes me, yeah, right? But that was the thing. I was like, so I want to be in this competition. And even my instructor, I must say, he said that to me too. He wanted to make sure that if I was in this competition, I was going to be judged on what I do.
Yeah.
And not for personal.
Yeah. Well, so in the beginning, and still sort of to this day, judges were chosen because either they were leaders in the community, they had classes of their own, people respected them. We went around and we asked people also, like, well, who do you want to judge?
Right, okay.
So that was sort of like where the basis of the judges stuff. Okay. And what people probably haven't noticed is that the judges have changed over the years.
Okay.
Sometimes people are there, sometimes they're not. The thing that we do ask the judges to do, and if they can't do that, then I know I don't want them to. You know, if you're not willing, and so we say this anytime we have a staff meeting and we have a judge meeting, if you're not willing to put your worst enemy in first place, then we don't want you to judge.
That's a good statement.
Because you have to judge what's on the floor. You cannot care that, you know, if you had an argument with that person 2 minutes ago, you have to pretend that did not happen.
Right.
You know, so you only judge what's on the floor.
Exactly.
And then we also review the judge sheets afterwards.
Okay.
And see if there's anything out of kilter. The problem that I think that comes in is that people think that it's easy. It's probably until you actually do it. I mean, you watching a contest is very different than actually judging. And so every judge, maybe you might miss something, you know.
Because nobody's perfect.
It's happened to me, you know. So if I'm reviewing the sheets after the competition, and I'm like, oh, well, that was a little off, you know. But everything else the judge looked fine, right? And I'm like, okay. Now, if they had something, I'm like, well, no, come on now.
Yeah, okay.
Next time, come on now.
Right.
Then they may not be asked.
So you guys go back and actually review those. And, okay, that's so. Just let me reiterate that.
And then I also speak to the judges too.
Okay.
And that's what competitors should do as well.
Okay.
Because we tell the judges, we tell the judges they need to be available to the attendees, the contestants at the end. We post the scores. So we post everything. So they can't hide behind, you know, a lot of you, they can't hide their name. And so that people know what people are going to give them. So
okay.
They have to be able to defend it. Now, maybe I may not agree with them, but you better have an intelligent argument on why you did what you did.
And I want to mention, I think you told me you saw the video with the ladies. April Matthews, was it April? Said,
yeah, it was April. Yeah.
She said something when I thought was that again helped rest my nerves a little bit. And she said that she knew someone that did have a personal issue with someone that was in competition. And she said she knows for a fact that person judged on what that, you know, and so that goes to what you're saying.
And they know, and there have been judges that have been removed or, you know, if I think that, you know, there's a bias, they may not judge that, you know. So there's little things that can be done.
And of course, we can't catch it all at one time. I'm aware of that.
All that. And some people just like, I may like something that you don't like. I may have my personal pet peeve when I judge is timing. If they're not, and other people will look at, and they could be screaming and hollering, and I'm looking at and I'm like, that's not dancing. Gotcha. If you're not dancing to the music, you're not dancing, in my opinion.
Okay, right.
So I may give them a lower score, and somebody else might think, oh wow, they're great. Right. Now, so your opinion might be, oh, but their showmanship was fantastic.
Gotcha.
So you might give them a little higher, I might give them a little lower.
Okay. And
but it still should be that your opinion should be respected, and you should be able to defend what you're doing.
And it's based upon what's happening on the floor. Okay, well that's definitely good to know. I think I mentioned you earlier. I had the same conversation with someone that has an award show, And it's so good to hear y'all have that, because people think that you just pull things out the air.
And next year, especially, we're going to be even harder on the judges, and I'm going to require them to be out there where the judges' sheets are for at least an hour after they're posted, so that if anybody has any questions, they can ask.
Okay, cool. That's really okay. And I've never been a part of a competition. I've never really, so I didn't even know that they get to do that. I thought it was all anonymous, to be honest with you.
Oh, no.
I did. I didn't
well,
know.
I think a lot of competitions are done like that, but that's not something I would want to do.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, you've got to be able to defend it. If you're going to judge people, then you've got to be able to defend it.
Okay. Chosen. So someone can come and ask you. That's the good thing. So guys, you can
send an email.
But if someone wants to be on staff, let's just say
same thing.
They can come and just ask you, let you know, because you don't know that everybody wants to be involved. You don't know. You may not even think about. You may think of someone that doesn't even want to be involved. They should just ask you instead of maybe feeling like they were left out.
Yeah.
So okay.
Sure. People do it all the time. Yeah, and things change. I mean, I think people think things stay, but if you really look, things change every year. You know, with the instructors, there's probably a little bit more higher requirement on bringing people as well.
Okay.
And then also I go by the survey. So at the end of like last year, like the year before, we had a survey, and so from that it lets me know who people like, who people want to see, who people want to take on.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of also where you get the invitational. Do the invitational.
Now the invitational is pretty subjective. That's
That's like
that's
you kind of entertaining.
So invitational level dancers, like sometimes somebody could be a really great dancer, but they may not be quite so entertaining.
Okay.
And so I think people have this misconception that it has to be this little thing in this box. And for us, so every competition is different, and every competition has its own identity. And so with ISDC, our invitational dancer is about people that are great dancers and also that can put on a show. I mean, it's if you see the end, it's fun, it's entertaining, and there's some really great dancing going by. So that's
I don't know the
main thing is dancing.
A younger couple that dances every year, and they dance.
Marcus and Trina
has to be. They're
from
both
DC?
tall and slim. Yes. I've known
Marcus since he was probably like 14, 15 years old.
Really? So he hasn't been dancing that long?
Oh, he's been dancing for a long time.
Okay, he's really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I look at, even when I see something like that, I see some of our people in Houston that I just see dancing around. One of them, Keegan, I think it's Keegan.
He's awesome.
I think about Keegan. I think that's
awesome.
Gonna be Keegan. That's gonna be Keegan.
He is an awesome
He's
dancer.
awesome, and he is a great person. Very kind of quiet to himself, but he still has that really.
That's also something. So my passion has always also been around. I used to have youth teams. So I like to see the young people get involved. And so that's another reason for bringing in people like Marcus and Trent, bringing in some of the younger, even on the stepping side, like Drew, Nike. We have this year coming, Nike and Carmen, Drew and Taylor, and Carlton and Lauren from California. It's because you need that in order to keep the dances going. You need that younger component coming in.
Exactly.
So.
Okay, well, it's Keegan. There's a young lady, I haven't seen it, but I love seeing Keegan dance. I try to hang in there with him, but I'm an old lady.
Me too.
I've been trying. I used to dance, and they'll say, "Well, I saw you do this." Yeah, but do you know how long? And then we practiced that. That was a routine. So that's what that was. So we got that done. Of course, as with anything else, there's a fear of cheating. We already talked about that. You covered. Oh, you did good. You covered all that. All my questions on that one.
Well, I hope nobody cheats. I mean,
you can't see everything, but I'm sure
there's another component too with that sometimes people don't think of is you also have to have judges that the contestants want to be judged by. And so if they feel like this certain person either isn't on their level or qualified to judge, then like you said, they're not going to get in the contest. So it's always it's a very, the thing that, like I can run events in my sleep, but the thing that gives me the most
is the judges.
It's the hardest thing.
And I think on that side too, and to be honest with you, from the side of the competitor, it's always, I think that's the step of, like I worked for the college. We also used to always say the hardest part for a student is to get out that car, prospective students, get out the car into. And what happens here is what's going to make that person stay.
Yeah.
I feel like that too about the competition.
Yeah.
There's so many little things, but judging is even though that's what it's all about, that's the biggest part.
And people, I think in this community, so it's so different when you know, with Lindy Hop and even with West Coast Swing, but especially like Lindy Hop, like people compete and they care, but they don't care as much as our community cares.
Definitely. That is, and
they get it, they compete, and they're done, and they go.
And it's just
go
fun.
have a drink.
It's just about fun. Yes. I've definitely been told that. Rob tells me, he talks to me about the other competitions, and he'll say it's so different. So there's like night and day. Because matter of fact, when we were talking about where I could compete, he was thinking about me going into one of those. But I can't West Coast Swing. So rules and updates. The rules are on the website.
Yes.
But I heard about. Well, before I get to that. How do you all let people know that there's going to be a change? Or do you even try? You just expect them to go to the website?
No, I expect them to read the rules.
Okay.
And some of the changes, like we will probably, like Janine does a good job of posting things and saying, hey, well, there's been a change to the Pro-Am category, which there has. And so this year
That's what I'm,
so the Pro-Am category is changed to which is something I really didn't want to do.
And I heard people are excited about the change.
I guess they are.
I've heard a lot of chatter. That's one of my.
But sometimes I always feel like people sort of, I think they ask for things, but they don't, because I've been doing it so long.
Oh,
I know the other side.
Yeah.
I know what comes after that, and so they push for a lot of rules. But sometimes the more rules you place on something, especially when you're talking about something that's an art form, then you create something that you're probably not wanting to do.
Gotcha.
Because you can be so strict about things that you
you can knock someone out.
Yeah, so then it becomes, and I've seen it happen. So I've been doing this a lot of times. So if you put in a rule and say, okay, well, and this comes down to like what is swing out, what is two-step, and you say, okay, you must do this move in it, and you must do it 2 times. And if somebody gets in that contest and they are fantastic and they're killing it, but they only did it 1 time, then are they disqualified?
Oh.
And then you have somebody who can barely walk that wins. So sometimes you have to be kind of careful of.
And so when you put it in a box, that makes it a little bit more challenging.
I prefer not having that box and prefer having the judges knowing what they're talking about and what they're looking at.
So, do you know what I know the Pro-Am think you have to teach for a certain amount of years and that kind of thing. Was it, and you changed it because it was so many people that wanted to change? Why was the
I think people didn't. Well, the problem is we have not progressed enough to where we can have multiple categories.
Gotcha.
And so that's the thing that people don't understand. You've got to get to a point where there are levels. And if there are levels, then you can say, well, this is beginner, this is intermediate, this is advanced, this is all-star, this is masters, this is invitational. But if you're here and everybody's in one pot together, then people get upset because they don't want to compete against somebody that's better or that's been dancing longer. And so in this community with the Pro-Am, they consider, when you talk to people in this community, they consider an amateur. They're like, well, that's not a beginner. But in all other dances, whether it's West Coast Swing or Lindy Hop, amateur just means that you're not a pro.
Professional, exactly.
It has nothing to do with the years of the dance. So we're changing that to include some years of dancing rules to make people feel better.
Okay. Well, thank you. That means they listen.
I listen.
You listen. And that's something that I do, guess I want to emphasize, that just in our conversation that we've had today, I see that, there's some things that just can't be changed because you have to have rules, you have to have, some guidelines, but they are listening to you. Yeah. If you think about the judges changing or rotating, I hadn't thought about it because I'm not there, but just watching all the things, because I watch. I may not show up, but I'm watching everything, and I'm nosy, and I'm just okay. So I watch everything, so I have definitely some of the things that you said today. I'm like, you know what? If you think about it, you slow down, you'll be like, that is true, or that's true. So sometimes we may just have to stop and take a minute and listen. Do we have any? I see April Jackson saying something. Okay, at the bottom.
What is it?
I'm a competitor that goes to the judges later for negative feedback.
Thank you, April. So
That's right, April.
there you go.
April's an awesome competitor.
She
too.
is. April is just an awesome person. I'll tell you, she's somebody that she tickles me to death on her Facebook posts, but they're always so true. She makes sometimes I wake up in a bad mood and I can look at one of her posts and I'm like, oh, okay, my day is made. My day is made. Let's see where we are. Do you only send out flyers, info to just the general public? Does any of, and I say you, but I mean anybody on your team, do they ever reach out to any of the instructors personally or the dance organizations personally to say, hey, we're having a competition this year. Do you have any students that might be interested? Make sure you tell your students. Do you do anything? I know that's difficult because you guys have so many other freaking things to do.
No, I don't, and I'm sort of a shy person, so that's why Janine does a lot of that.
Okay,
We'll go somewhere, we'll go to an event, and Janina will walk up to people. I can be in a room of 500 people, and I'll just sit here and I
don't know who you are.
I'm not gonna say anything. Just this past weekend for last night, world's largest, I actually got up and passed around some fly. I don't ever do that.
So would you believe? I don't know if you know what I do, but would you believe that me either?
I don't.
So I do these nautical cruises. So we'll go somewhere and I'm like, I'm not passing these flyers out. Now I talk a lot, and I will take me a minute to get up and talk to people, whatever. And I have to do presentations for work, like I do. Yeah. But passing out flyers, I feel like I'm asking people to buy stuff. I don't know. I just feel so uncomfortable with that. So I will get somebody.
Janine's awesome.
Now my
so
mother will go
do
it, but so I feel you on that.
Yeah,
I was actually telling someone yesterday that no one's gonna believe this, but I am undercover shy. So let's just say I go somewhere and I try to go sit down in a little area where nobody pays me everybody pays me attention though. But I'll go because I want to go sit, get it together, look at my surroundings, then come out and do it. But you can't because people are like.
But that's why I said when I was telling you earlier before this when we were talking, like people think I haven't been in this community,
but you was over there in the corner.
I was back in Desiree's, back.
I thought you just showed up here in 2000, I guess 14 is when I thought you showed. So that's so funny.
Went to the competition in Dallas, I think with the checkerboard floor, the black and white.
Yeah,
I just got in my car and drove up and just went and then drove back.
That is so funny. That's like, so we've probably seen you, just didn't know. Okay. And even to this day, I think if somebody walked in a room, I mean, we know who you are now, but just some Joe Blow would not think this lady is over all these competitions, running stuff like the balls, So it's so funny. Especially as I've been asking before. So let me just say this and do with it what you will. Okay. I think that will be another opportunity. Now, Jerron Calhoun also, he's another proponent of the ISDC. He gets out. He's another one that I think can dance so well. I don't want to dance like that again, but he dances so much fun. But he's a proponent. I must say, I hear him. I see him on Facebook. Sometimes like
what you saying? We're not doing a good job of.
No, what I'm gonna say, I'm trying. He does a good job because I think is he part of your staff or is he just doing that on?
He's a DJ and
Okay, so he does a good job of trying to get new people in, is what I'm gonna say, and I think that's something that might be needed a little bit more, if you will.
Getting new people.
Yeah, because people are watching and they want to, but just because of our community, as we keep using that term, I guess. I think sometimes even just having one of those people, I don't know, Janine, Jerron, anybody, to just say, hey, you know what, here, do you have anybody in your class? Because you know how people are, they just kind of want to be.
Yeah. And I think she does. I mean, I
don't know, so that's what I mean.
Yeah,
but that's just something.
And at events, she makes announcements like.
Oh, okay. I don't go to a lot of events anymore, so yeah. So. I know because I ran the video today from when we did at the meet and greet. I ran that this morning for my 10 o'clock slot, and you said, okay, Janine's gonna do it. So, and I was wondering today, I said, when I get there, I wonder if she's gonna have a team or she gonna speak.
No, I thought about it. I actually did think about it, and I was like, maybe I should just have Janine.
Well, I said, no, I'm excited that you did. I wasn't gonna even tell you that to do that. I said, I'll go with whatever. So anyway, I know no one has time to babysit anybody. However, sometimes I think that, I don't know, and I don't want to use anybody's name, so I'm going to just say ABC dance group to say, hey guys, y'all know we have this competition. Make sure, because some students want to compete, but all they need is for their instructor because they trust their instructor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even that whole concept to me is foreign. because
know.
that doesn't happen
In the other dances, exactly.
No.
But you
It's
see
like
the
there's
difference.
this sort of ownership or something of the people. I don't understand. I thought we were
I don't
off the
like it. I
plantation.
don't like it, but
I don't
yeah,
like
no. It's something even.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is
but-
what it is. And so, and all I'm just mentioning is not even to baby hand holding like that, but just to throw it out there sometimes. Say, hey guys, some of your students, because I said it in some of my other chats that guys are, if your students say they want to compete, are you going to encourage them? Are you going to, if you don't want to do it, are you going to send them to someone that's going to help them be prepared for the
Do
competition?
you think they don't do it because their instructor isn't involved, or because their instructor doesn't compete, or because their instructor doesn't value competition?
I was trying to get that answer.
Yeah. I don't
know either. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe. I'm just an honest person. It's hard for me to believe that people don't get in the dance competition because their instructor is not involved. That's hard for me to believe.
I think
But
that's true.
I think if they're not compete. I mean, not compete. But I think if they're not involved, they may have questions. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So let's just say I go everywhere, and when I used to do the galas, I go everywhere and say, hey, I'm having the gala. I want y'all to come. If their instructor says, hey guys, this is something cool, then I think the student would be more so to join. Not if their instructor competes, because their instructor may not be someone that wants to compete. That's not their thing. Yeah. But yeah, being involved, and I think that's what was asked in the last in the male interview, was that their students asked them, why aren't you involved? And so when I asked you, how do you get involved, we've answered that by just say, hey, I would like to be a part of ISDC. What can I do to help you? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's some people that may not want to be. I mean, there have been times in the past where I've asked people to do certain things, and whether it was judge or whatever, and people kind of assume that, well, why don't you have that person judge, or why don't you have that? And I'm like, well, maybe I've already asked them and they don't.
That's true. That is true.
And I'm not saying that's not the case in everybody.
Because we don't know the background. We don't know the background of everything. So let me just say.
Or they asked them and they didn't do such a good job, so maybe that's not either, So.
Yeah. So it's none of our business.
I think it's people's business, but I think it's also people sort of assume things instead of just asking.
Well, when I say,
and I'm pretty open. If you want to come and ask me something, come and ask me.
What I mean is that there are certain things that I know that would be something I'm
private.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say that. Yeah. So on this talk show, I just talk just whatever. So that's how I say it. But no, that's what I mean. There are some things that I'm sure that wouldn't be shareable. Okay. Put it that way.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That is true.
There you go. So instructors, let me just say for me, ISDC is a great opportunity for them to your students to compete. Again, I'm still thinking about it, but just mention it to them when it comes out. Mention it because we want to get them. I'm trying. So what has been the most? Let me make sure I got that. Okay, what has been the most challenging category to fill? I heard it's two-step, Houston two-step.
Two-step for sure.
Okay.
Two-step.
That's surprising to me, but
yeah, me too. Considering this is Houston.
It's Houston.
Yeah.
And there's some really, you got your flow motion and your art and chemistry and I think Henry. Yeah. So
like and it kind of shifts. Like this year, like Baton Rouge was in court competing.
Okay.
And last year too, I think they're so they're really. And I don't know, maybe it's because there's not. I don't know why, but I mean, I'm glad that y'all do. So so it's interesting, like who competes and who doesn't. It seems to be kind of cyclical, but I really wish. I feel like sometimes maybe the Houston people have a little bit more, what do I say, like. There's sort of like it's more about a pride thing. Like I think people don't want to lose, but it's not about that. I mean, of course, everybody wants to win, and you compete to win. But if you don't, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Nobody's gonna look at you and say, "Oh my God, now you can't dance because you did not lose it because you lost a contest." And I think that's the mentality that needs to change.
It definitely needs to change.
And I think once people come and they realize that all the competitors are really supportive of each other, and they'll find that as they're competing, and that the environment isn't probably what they think it is, then it'll probably be,
Okay, that'll be okay. So do you guys have any ideas about how you're going to pull? Or like you said, that changes each year. This year, you may have a plethora of two-steppers.
I'm hoping, and I mean, I think what tends to happen is like, so when categories don't make, and so, and if, and in the past we've been kind of lenient about things because it needs 5 couples to make, and we've been running them with sometimes when there's only 3.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to kill it.
And I can't. I'm like, I can't keep doing that because it's, it costs a lot of money to do this. So if you care about your dance, and I think people think that for some reason that competition is bad for the dance, and what it is, it's actually really good for the dance because it creates visibility. It creates it challenges people. It gives them something else to do besides just going out and social dance. They can compete with their instructor. They can, there are a lot of people that want to be out there on the come, but so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so swing out, of course, we always have.
I can't see that.
Someone saying something. It looks like April.
Like Tasha stated, if more people would just come to see for themselves without competing, they will see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? Let me move into that question. I think I skipped it somewhere. There was a question. I think you probably saw that one on the spectator tickets.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Okay.
That one, I was like, what?
Okay,
I was
so
okay.
If you can remember what it was, I don't remember exactly how it went. Talk to me.
I got this one.
There's Tina.
So I feel like, and the comparison was made with a West Coast swing event, Novice Invitational. So, like I said, it's been around a long time. Novice Invitational, that was run by 2 women for 20-something years. Okay. One of which does my decorations at ISDC.
Oh, okay. So
yes. And the other one is Peggy, and she's a great friend of mine as well. And if you danced at Novice Invitational before, you probably were dancing on my floors. Anyway, it's a very different concept when it's West Coast swing. So one of the things that I think and I don't know her name or whatever, but that mentioned, she said she went to Novice Invitation. She said, I think April gave the analogy when she talked to me about spectator passes. And I said that we can't do spectator passes because I cannot watch the floor. Gotcha. Like, so if you pay $15 to get in on a spectator pass, I can't have people running around trying to see whether or not you're dancing.
Oh, okay.
So spectator pass means spectator,
yes.
Right. But the young lady also mentioned that she bought a spectator pass and she danced. Right? Isn't
right, and you're not supposed to be. Okay.
So what I know about our community is that if that were to be offered for $15, are they going to take that and are they going to dance?
Get on that floor.
So number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is in the West Coast swing community, they have probably a 90% competitor rate.
Okay. Ooh.
So, which means all of those people are buying weekend passes.
They can afford.
So they can, not only can they afford to do that, but it's not going to make that much difference because spectators are probably going to be less than somewhere around 5 to 10% of their.
That makes sense.
Now you change that to ISDC and you flip that the entire way. There's 10% competitors and 90% spectators. I couldn't even pay for one day. I probably couldn't pay for the bread now.
Yes, okay. So that's why you're saying, so it's not necessarily like having to police. In that community, you would have to police because most of those people there are competing anyway. You don't have to worry about that.
They don't have to worry.
And then we're still starting off here. This is still new. So at this point, Joe Blow can come and who knows if they're going to be just jump on the floor. And this stuff has to be paid for.
It has to be paid for.
Gotcha. So this year, again, I haven't been, and I don't know if I'm coming as a competitor or spectator this year, but make me understand. So a spectator pass is for me to come and spectate, but when you have the dances, I can do that. That's like a weekend pass.
I don't have a spectate only pass.
Okay, gotcha.
So I have nightly passes, and what she was mentioning is that they're pretty expensive.
Yes.
And they are expensive, and part of that reason is because you probably really need to buy the weekend pass so that it's cost effective to you.
Yes.
Because most people are going to come for all 3 days.
All 3 days. Get your
So
hotel room, have a good time.
Until the model can change,
Yeah.
But even and also Novice Invitational is a smaller event.
Okay.
And so they probably have somewhere maybe 200, 300 people.
Okay.
And like I said, I've been doing events along. There is a huge difference, especially where you have it, between a 200, 300 event and a 600, 700 people event. Not a comparison. Not a comparison in pricing as far as hotel, amenities, what they give you, their expectations, what you have to pay for. Nowhere near.
I think, and then that's another thing. Sometimes when you haven't given even a small event, sometimes you don't think about the cost of that stuff too.
And then they're looking at a lot of things that maybe like are only one night or 2 nights or 2.5 nights, but not 4 full nights in a luxury hotel and multiple spaces.
Definitely.
So it's a whole different
you
thing.
have your workshops and all that.
Yeah, and I've done them from 50 people workshops to 100 workshops to 200, 300, all the way to my big events. That's 1,000 people in 27 different countries. So I know what the models look like at each thing.
Okay.
So.
Oh well, thank you for clearing that up. Okay. I'm gonna back up again also about Zydeco. You know, I tell you that's my number one. But what happened? Did we just not get the numbers?
Didn't get the
numbers. And I know you tried it for
two
3
or
years.
3 times.
Okay.
I wanted that to work so bad. I love Zydeco.
Yeah. It's a fun.
I know.
And
I know, but they gotta come. And because I'm not necessarily in that community, I don't know.
Yeah.
I personally don't know what to do to bring them.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: it's a weird thing because even. So I do a Zydeco cruise every year, and I sell 300 cabins just like that.
Wow.
I'm doing an R&B.
You
know how many cabins I sold my R&B cruise? 20. 320.
Okay, so I'm coming to the Zydeco.
Okay. So, and I'm saying that to say, and even, and I'm gonna give another example to show you what I mean. The City is a great group that I promote a lot. They had Prospect Park. They had the idea of putting Zydeco and R&B band together. Sounds good to me too, right?
Didn't
The
work.
Zydeco people weren't going to come because they want to come for Zydeco, and that's it.
Yeah.
And so that could be that.
Well,
if it was you know what I mean? That's I'm saying that about these two things too.
And I think that's the same because we tried the line dance thing again. We are actually trying the line dance thing again.
Well, category.
And no. So it's going to be a whole. So this past year at ISDC, so we had 3 events.
Okay.
And so everybody that went to ISDC and had a weekend pass, they could go to the Houston Jazz Dance Festival and the Afro Latin Festival, all for that pass.
Oh, okay.
So this year we're adding a 4th event, and it is called H-Town Jam, and it's all line dance. And so they have their own space, their own ballroom, and that's part of the reason why we're moving to the new hotel is to even have more space.
So they're gonna love that. Yeah, they're gonna love that.
So it's gonna be
that one. I think that was good. I definitely like that.
Yeah.
I'm just giving you that tip that just from this experience here that has been super expensive for me. 20 cabins didn't do nothing for me. But I'm not someone like what you mentioned about the Zydeco. You tried to. This RV, I was not gonna let it. I had to go find a sponsor because I was not gonna let it stop. And I'm still gonna do it again because I want to give up. But after with you, I won't be able to hold that expense. Because you want to make it work because you think this is great. This is what people want, but they didn't. So. Yeah. And
I think people have this misconception that you're making all this ton of money.
They do. I'm like, sometimes your passion for something is where it's at, and that's for me.
I want something better for our people. My husband gets at me every year about the amount of money that I'm spending on this competition. And I in the last. So will be our 7th year. Luckily, last year, Houston Swing Dance Society picked up the deficit, which was even larger than ever. It was $18,000.
Oh, wow.
But in all previous years, we have never. So I've never made 1 penny off of this event. Not one single dime. I don't have a salary. Karen doesn't have a salary. Damon doesn't have a salary.
That's why Karen's selling jewelry.
No one's made 1 cent. In fact, we've lost over $53,000 on this event.
And Tina, I must say that I think sometimes people don't know. So when you have a true passion for this, you will go the extra,
And I want it for our people.
And you want it,
I mean, it's sometimes, and so I don't want to cry because it makes me cry when I think about it. Like sometimes our people don't, I feel like they don't even value what it is.
Definitely. And that's,
or they don't want better for themselves sometimes.
And that's probably where you and I have some similarities. Is that I seem tough sometimes, but behind closed doors is a different story for me sometimes, because you want something and your reason for doing it, and maybe people don't see that you're doing it for them. But Tina, I think you're doing a fabulous job. I think this is.
I'm trying.
It's growing. And again, the big thing about it is I've never heard anything negative, and even the things that we've heard on the thing, those weren't negative. They were just people, as you when you emailed me, misconceptions. So
very misconceptions. I understand why they have that, because they're trying to compare it to other things, but they're.
And if you don't know, you don't know.
No,
So
not like the other.
Say something to those of us who are considering participating but are a little anxious or skeptical to ease our fear. And I'm going to tell you this real quick.
Okay.
So I was already nervous, but then I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna do it. I was told and looked in my eyes, because this person didn't know me back when I was really dancing, and they looked in my eyes and said, yeah, but I've seen you dance on dance floor. I don't think you could be in a competition. I don't think you could even compete. And the person is a part of this all the time, and I probably didn't let them know that, but it broke my heart. Well, and I did say, well, I used to dance. I just don't get out of practice. Once I practice, yeah, you say that, but what it did, it just broke my heart. I was like, okay, so maybe I'm not going to compete.
Why would you want to break someone's spirit like that?
It broke me up. And so I want you to say something to those out there who may be thinking about, like, right on the tip of competing.
You should compete. If anybody, and I don't care who it is, tells you that you're not good enough, there are categories. I mean, you could dance with your instructor in the Pro-Am. You could dance in the Jack and Jill. This is a place to get better. And what people don't understand is competition, being in competition will also make you a better dancer, just like you going to classes make you a better dancer. And if you don't focus on just purely winning, like, yes, it's nice to win, and yes, you should train and compete to win. But if you don't, it's not that big a deal. Nobody's going to come up to you and say, oh, you're horrible that you didn't. And if anybody who told you that you shouldn't compete, that's crazy talk to me. No, you should always want to compete. You should always get in there. And I'm a big fan of Joyce Meyer. And one of the reasons I moved to Houston and didn't know, I was scared about doing things. And so I always remember she has this phrase, and she says, do it afraid. And so everything I do, whether I'm afraid or not, I do it afraid. Yes. And then I'm usually pleased at the outcome. So please, please, please. And talk to me, talk to one of the instructors, and I encourage you to compete.
What about those that may need a partner? Do you have any suggestions on how to find a partner?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's hard, because there are so many women in the community.
Yeah.
I think reaching out to your instructor and say, hey, is there anybody in class? And I don't think it's wrong to approach somebody and ask them to compete. Even if you know that they compete with somebody else, all they can do is say no, or they can say, oh, well, I'm doing this category with and I know that people have done that. They've gone up and asked somebody, and that person said, oh, well, I'm doing this category so, but I can do a strictly with you, or I can do this with you, or we can put it together a routine.
Okay, cool. So what is the most, I don't know, you probably have already, hi, how are you? How are you doing? Aren't you beautiful?
Oh, it's my mom.
Hi, Mom.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I need it because my car won't lock, and I need to go get my medicine, and I can't.
We're on live.
It's okay. It's okay.
Just a second, whether
That's okay. Tony, we need you around here. What is the most challenging thing about ISDC right now, planning it? What would you say the most challenging? I know there's lots of them, but
one, just overcoming some of the stigmas about competition that people have about competitions, like this is bad, and there's something that drives me crazy when people say, I'm a social dancer. I'm like, everybody's a social dancer. And they're like, I'm not a competitor. Well,
That means they don't get it. They don't get it.
No. I mean, everybody's a
The only
social
time I say this
dancer.
when somebody tells me I don't style on the floor. I'm like, well, I'll just social dance.
Well, I'm competing. Well, that's true. I mean, I would say that too. I mean, if you're not good, if you're social dancing on the dance floor, you're social dancing. But that and then like I said, the judging. The judging is the hardest thing to wrangle in. But
do people ever ask you
better.
though, or do you think do they ever come to you? Or do any of your like your Janines come to you to say, well, hey, people are asking me about this as far as judges? Okay, good. Okay, so they are open and asking. Yeah. What's the most rewarding so far?
When it's over with and people have had a really good time, or people, especially people who have never been, and I get that a lot, especially when people come from out of state. Like first when all the Baton Rouge people come in, now the Florida people, they're like, oh my God, I didn't know, and they're glad and they're happy.
They're gonna tell other people. Yeah.
And I feel good.
It's almost like rising up over it and seeing everything that happened, and you're like,
people feeling like that they can be part of something that's professional and well done and it's done by our people for our people.
Yes, that's good. That's good. As a female in this world, how do you navigate the good old boys game? Or has it even been an issue for you? No, that has never been an issue, right?
No.
So how do you navigate that?
So in the beginning, I heard that many times. So also what's very different about the black community as far as dancing is this concept of just men that lead everything. I've never seen that. Like even like on all the flyers, it's never Joe and Beth. It's Joe.
And
this person.
Joe.
And never. I'm not. And so I'm also trying to change that. So now you will start to see, as you will see, there are more couples and the females being recognized as well. And but yes. I mean, we were told in the beginning that nobody's going to go to it. Nobody's going to, and I've heard a whole lot of stuff.
It's definitely a hard thing, and not even just even in dance. And I ask this to every single female that's in some type of business like this, how they handle it. Because it's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
It's hard, but it feels good when you get to wrangle in there with them. But it can definitely be a challenge.
I think they've come to trust me. I think in the beginning that was a challenge. Like what's this woman gonna do?
Definitely. Do they follow your lead now? Are they more open? Good. Last question. This one's on me. Okay. And it's a little sensitive, but so I'm gonna ask it. No, it's not gonna make you cry. It's not gonna make you cry. I know that.
Is it hard?
It's not hard. It's not hard at all, because you said earlier.
Put me on the spot.
You want everybody to ask you.
I do.
And one thing what I can do is if I ask the question or I say something, I'll pretty much be upfront. I'll be uncomfortable asking, but I'll ask. So we have something going on in our dance committee right now that's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. I don't mention names or anything like that.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. However, it is. And it's. I saw something the other day, and I thought, matter of fact, I had to call somebody and say, "So is it all gone? Is it all over?" Because the person is, moved on. But anyway, so that's what I thought. So, but my issue is we have several other things going on, and I noticed that you spoke out about.
Yeah, I did.
About it. Yeah. And which is great and fine. But do you not feel that if there's something else that's just as big that you would speak out on it also?
I
think
I would. It depends
careful
on what
about what the situation is?
It depends on what it is. I mean, sometimes if I feel that it's personal, I probably won't. Okay. Like if it's between two people, I won't. I felt like this particular issue affected
the entire dance community.
The dance community as a whole.
Okay. Okay.
But if there's too much personal stuff,
Definitely, absolutely.
and believe me, I get enough of it behind the scenes. I won't come to the event if this person's not there. I won't teach if this other person's there.
Wow.
I get all kinds of stuff, but
I don't even know why I'm saying, oh wow, like I don't know that.
I'm not. That's if it's between. It's personal. I'm not gonna promise.
Definitely. Oh no, and I definitely wouldn't expect you to do that. It would definitely be unprofessional.
You've seen other things that are big.
I'm gonna mention. So violence. If there's I speak out, but I'm just now getting this platform. And let me mention that I did ask the person that that's going through this. I asked them to come on. It might be a little selfish, but not a little selfish. Because one thing about me is I always wished back in the day when I was in the dance community before that some things I wish I could have come on and gave my misconceptions. So I asked that person to come on and explain or maybe answer some questions, because I think that's what everybody's issue is. That's what makes it look so bad, if I can say that.
Okay.
The issue with that. But there are some things that are going on in our dance community right now that I take a stand against. My stepsister was killed. She was bullied for a long time until she was shot to death. So I think that's just as big. I think violence is just as big as that. So, and I think that's my question. If there was someone on your team or someone that you're involved with, would you have a private conversation maybe with that person?
At a minimum.
Okay. Because you would feel that's still more personal than this event.
That really depends. So and it probably depends on the situation, because every situation is different. I can tell you if certain things happen at the event, and there have been things that happen at the event, and I have kicked people out of the event, and they're not allowed to return. So those kind of things, yes.
You address
if there are things that happen outside of the event between two people, and I think each thing is situational. I would have to know what it is. And so maybe after this, right now I have no idea what you're talking about. So it might be something I don't know about.
And that's why I would ask it, because
because there are things I expect the instructors, and so even with the thing that happened that to me was a community thing. The reason that I took them off the website, I actually have not spoken with them yet, but until things are settled, then I'm probably not going to make a stand on that, but I probably wouldn't ask them to be teachers or judges, because it's an integrity thing. And if your integrity is in question, then how can you judge? So
kind of what we talked about at the beginning, that came full circle. So, I agree with that.
So you don't know what you're talking about.
So it was more of a general. It's kind of general, kind of not.
It depends. But there's a lot of
different little things.
So let me give you an example why I don't.
Okay.
So there has been, and this has happened, I want to say a minimum of 3 times, where 2 people may not have gotten along. And one person has said, I won't do X unless you do this.
Oh gosh.
And I tend to give my back up. I don't like people to tell me what to do. But then what happens is sometimes, and then later on, these people are now friends. This has happened on more than one occasion.
I'm sure.
And if I have jumped into that, and then made a stand against this person, or made a stand against this person.
Definitely. And I would never even and I don't think you should. It's just that in this particular instance, you did speak out. So you've explained to me why you spoke out on that. I definitely understand
because I felt that was more a community thing.
Definitely. And so that makes sense to me in the question that I'm trying to ask. That's just really uncomfortable for me because of I met you today, and and just getting to know who you are. And I've known you before, but we've had some conversation a little bit before the show, and it made me more uncomfortable.
I don't believe in violence, and I don't tolerate violence. I too have been through things. I've been
Yeah,
abused and
yeah,
all that
yeah, yeah.
in a shelter, all kinds of
Okay.
things.
Okay.
So I
So,
know.
yeah.
No,
And it's always,
yeah.
matter of fact, October is Domestic Violence
Violence
Month.
Month, yes.
So, purple,
Reach
wear your
over
purple.
trouble. Reach
Yes.
over troubled waters. It's a good place to donate.
Oh, good. I gotta make sure I get that so I can post that next month. Let's see, is that everything? Did I have anything to tell us? Okay, now, ISDC 2020. Tell us the
Ooh,
date. I know we're moving to a new place.
We are
And
moving
I'm saying
to
we
the
because I'm
Marriott.
there.
Yes, you're gonna be there.
I'm
She's
coming
coming.
this year. I'm coming this year.
We're moving to the Marriott West Chase. We're gonna have. We've already planned so many things. It's gonna be so different, but
Are we not gonna have a 90s? Because I missed the 90s.
we're not gonna have 90s.
Okay.
We're probably going to have. It's either gonna be. I forget what Karen said. Karen
Okay.
actually decides the themes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So
Hey,
I
Karen,
know
we're gonna make sure you
Friday
get
night is gonna be pajama night, no lingerie. Pajama night and pizza party.
Now, you
We're
know
gonna
you gotta
provide
have
pizza.
some guidelines on that, John.
Oh, exactly. And I know that I think Saturday night is our for heart disease. We're gonna have a benefit for that, and I think our colors are red and black for that.
Okay.
And then Sunday, I think we're doing either, I can't remember, either it's 70s or 80s or
Okay.
something, 60s or 80s. I can't
Okay.
remember which one.
Okay.
And but we'll post all that soon. But we're gonna have, there's gonna be a lot more free things
Hey,
for
look
you
at that
guys.
title, I'm
A
sorry.
lot more
I see ISDC.
It's gonna
free food, free. We can do a lot more in this new hotel, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. You're really gonna enjoy
What
it.
area is it? Still?
It's still on Westheimer,
Okay,
more
good.
towards Beltway 8.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay, cool.
room, and with the addition of H-Town Jam, which is a complete and separate line dance event
Mhm.
all weekend for those guys. But you guys, actually, ISDC people have access to that as well.
Okay. Oh, so their event is not like a one night event, it's a whole weekend.
It's gonna be
Oh.
2 nights.
Okay, okay. Oh, they're gonna love that. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's all. If you have anything that you wanna, any last minute words, anything you wanna say, you've done great. So you'll be so shy.
Did
Yeah.
I have anything I didn't say?
You took notes on that video, didn't you?
I did.
I know you did.
Terrible judges.
Did you say terrible judges?
No.
Oh, you said terrible.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I'm
think
trying to
that's
make sure I
everything.
think
Oh, we have payment plans, and that's the other thing that we're trying to do so people can afford it. So they can pay in, like when we first opened registration, it was like $12 a month.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
So
Okay, good. I like that. I wish they would have had one for the black and white ball. That was a hard chunk. So guys, this was Tina Morales Armstrong. Got it right again. She's been great. She brought me way out here. I think I'm just spending the night. It was my daughter. I thought I was just spending the night. Yes, but I'm coming back. I'm gonna definitely come back for one of these big things you have here. You have stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be. Now that we're friends, we're
That's
gonna,
right.
So ISDC is has been. I've heard so many great things about it. I'm definitely gonna go this year. I'm gonna be on the payment plan. So unless I can get on staff, no, I'm just joking. I'm gonna get on the payment plan.
I always have.
I'm
things
gonna
to
make
do.
sure that
Yeah,
I'm actually hoping that I can get me some interviews and with some of these dancers, and we'll talk about that off camera. But Miss Tina, Miss Karen, and what's the new person? Damon. Let's support this event. This is a great event for our city, for our dance community, and you heard it from, and I kept wanting to say that, but you saying from the horse's mouth, from the fox's mouth, from the beauty's mouth, from the boss's mouth. You heard her reason for this. You heard her passion for this. Let's get together, instructors. You are very important to this. You may not be on the committee, you may not be on the staff, you may not be a partner, but you are important to making this thing successful because you have the students. And some of your students, and if you really want them to grow, if you want them to be good dancers, and you taking $10, tell them about this ISDC thing, two-stepping. Join this thing. And I'm gonna have to do something, I guess, because I'm sitting opening my mouth saying y'all need to compete, but I'm really thinking about it.
She's competing.
I'm working on it really hard.
Any questions at all, you can
Contact
feel free to
Tina.
contact me.
Contact
I'm on
Tina.
Facebook, shoot me in.
Yes, and she does answer her messenger.
I
So
do.
definitely check her messenger, reach out. If you don't want to ask anyone else, you don't want the question to go any further, and you may be embarrassed, she's just really the person to reach out to. Does you see anything, Kayla, that we need to read? Okay. So thank you, Tina.
You're welcome.
This has been great. And see there, you did it. Okay.
Woo.
Thanks. Bye, guys.